All right, let's jump straight into this explainer. We're tackling what might literally be the single most important economic question of our generation. Look, we hear it all the time, right? AI is going to make us vastly more productive. It's going to automate our busy work. It's going to save us hours and hours every single week. But here is the multi-trillion-dollar question we actually have to answer. When AI saves you time at work, who actually captures the financial value of that time? Do you get to go home early with the exact same pay, or does someone else pocket the difference? So, here is our roadmap for how we're going to figure this out today. First, how we actually use AI. Second, the trillion-dollar time save. Third, productivity is not a paycheck. And finally, the ownership question. Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, how we actually use AI, cutting through the sci-fi hype. Let's start by looking at what's actually happening in the workforce right now. If you just listen to the headlines, you might genuinely think jobs are already vanishing overnight. But when you look at the Anthropic Economic Index, which measures real-world privacy-preserved usage data of their AI models, the reality is much more nuanced. Right now, 57% of AI usage is actually augmentation, meaning the AI is collaborating with a human user. It's validating work, helping them learn, iterating on ideas. Only 43% is full automation, where the AI is directly delegated to do a task completely on its own. So this data really dispels that whole myth of immediate mass replacement. AI is primarily acting as a high-powered collaborator for us, not a total replacement. But who exactly is doing all that collaborating? Well, this is where AI completely flips the historical script. According to an analysis from the Brookings Institution, past waves of automation, think robotics or manufacturing software, mostly impacted blue-collar manual workers. But current AI usage, it's the exact opposite. The data shows it is heavily concentrated among better-educated, high-wage professionals. We're talking software developers, data scientists, business analysts. Meanwhile, lower-paid service workers and manual laborers currently have very low AI exposure. And for those high-wage professionals using AI, the productivity gains are absolutely staggering. Anthropic's data reveals that for highly complex tasks, specifically those requiring about 16 years of education, like a college degree, AI creates a massive 12x speedup. Let me just repeat that. Tasks that used to take hours can now take literally minutes for white-collar workers. It's a total game changer. Section 2, the trillion-dollar time save, sizing up the global impact. Okay, so we know individual workers are getting drastically faster, but what happens when we scale those 12x speedups across the entire global economy? Well, the numbers get mind-boggling very quickly. A recent working paper from the International Monetary Fund looked at this exact global usage data, and they calculated that the time currently being saved by AI across the world equals roughly $2.7 trillion annually. To put that into perspective, that's about 3.4% of the entire global GDP. That is a gargantuan amount of economic value being unlocked simply by compressing the time it takes to do cognitive work. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the precise economic term the IMF uses for this $2.7 trillion figure. They call it the labor cost equivalent. Notice they definitely do not call it a wage increase. This number represents the estimated financial value of the labor time that firms are saving. Think about it. If a business used to pay a worker for 8 hours of coding, and now it takes 2, that saved time has massive financial value. But that value isn't automatically handed back to the worker as a nice little bonus. It is a cost saving for the firm. So you might be wondering, if we're saving trillions of dollars in time, why doesn't the economy feel drastically different yet? Well, economists actually have a name for this, the productivity paradox. Historically, whenever a massive new technology drops, like the personal computer back in the 1980s, you don't see the economic output right away. First, companies have to spend a ton of money investing in the tech and training their staff. Then there's this adaptation lag that usually takes, 2 to 5 years while organizations figure out how to actually use the thing. Only after that lag does the measurable productivity surge finally show up on the macro level. And folks, we are living right inside that adaptation lag today. Section 3, productivity is not a paycheck, the great disconnect. This structural disconnect brings us to the absolute crux of our explainer. To understand it, we need to define a really crucial economic term, the labor share, sometimes known as the K to Y ratio. I want you to think of the entire national economy as a freshly baked pie. The labor share is simply the slice of that pie that gets paid out as wages to workers. The remaining slice is the capital share, and that goes as profit to the people who own the assets, the businesses, and the technology. Now, for a long time in economic history, the size of that labor slice stayed remarkably stable. It was so consistent that the famous economist John Maynard Keynes called it one of the best established facts in economic statistics. However, in most developed countries today, that workers' slice has actually been steadily declining since the 1980s. Even as the overall pie has gotten bigger and bigger, the percentage actually going to labor is shrinking. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly where AI threatens to accelerate that downward trend. You see, AI has the potential to be what economists call a capital bias technology. That just means it's a technology that boosts the total economic output. The pie gets much, much bigger. But it does so in a way that relies heavily on software and servers rather than human hours. So total output goes way up, but the labor share of the income, it goes down. I really want to drill this point home. Labor cost savings for a firm do not magically equal wage increases for a worker. As AI makes displaced tax time incredibly cheap, it's the firm's bottom line that benefits. If a company can suddenly produce the exact same amount of marketing material or software code or legal analysis using half the human hours, the financial surplus generated by that efficiency primarily flows up to the business. It doesn't just automatically flow out to the payroll. Section 4, the ownership question: who captures the surplus? So if cognitive work is becoming dramatically faster, and potentially even optional in some areas down the line, who is structurally positioned to actually get rich from this transition? Classical economists will often point to what they call compensation effects to kind of reassure us. This is the idea that new tech always creates a soft landing for workers. They argue that, hey, new machines require people to build them, automation lowers prices, which boosts consumer demand, and entirely new industries will spring up to create new jobs. But, and this is a big but, historians and economists, dating all the way back to Karl Marx, have harshly criticized this assumption. They warn that there is absolutely no guaranteed economic law saying these compensation effects will happen fast enough or be large enough to actually protect everyone's livelihood. Here is the stark reality. A future where work is optional, or where humans get to just enjoy shorter work weeks with abundant resources, is not a default setting of the universe. It's just not an automatic technological guarantee. It is entirely a question of wealth distribution and asset ownership. Technology only creates the surplus. Society is the one that has to decide how to distribute it. So right now, based on the current structure of our economy, the people who are perfectly positioned to capture this massive new surplus fall into three main buckets. Number one, the owners of the AI models themselves, the companies building the foundational tech. Number two, the owners of the massive compute infrastructure and data centers powering those models. And number three, the deploying firms, the everyday businesses that use this AI to cut their labor costs and boost their profit margins. Notice who is suspiciously missing from that list: the average worker whose time was just saved. AI is an astonishing tool, and it's already augmenting our highest skilled work and generating trillions in labor cost equivalents. But as we've learned today, productivity is not a paycheck. So I want to leave you with this provocative thought to chew on as you navigate this rapidly changing economy. When AI successfully cuts your workday in half, who actually owns the rights to your saved time? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this helped you see the economic realities behind all the hype. Keep asking the big questions and keep learning.
If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe for more AI and technology content. Thanks for watching.